is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there?
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead.
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no. It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Well, apparently it's a yes. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre repeatedly denied the president would pardon his son, and that obviously changed. So what exactly was to that? Martha MacCallum is here, anchor and executive editor of The Story. You know what? To that point, she was asked about this, Karine Jean-Pierre, and sort of doubled down on, this is a decision that the president has made, and they're sticking to it. I mean, you can make the case that she sort of made the situation worse in that gaggle.
Honestly, I look at those responses from her, and I think she should be very angry today. She should go in there and say to President Biden and the rest of the leadership that you sent me out there and you made me lie. And that's wrong. She could have been more equivocating. She could have said, let's let the system play out. Let's see what happens. He's supposed to be sentenced. Let's just be honest that they were still in the midst of figuring this out. I think that nobody is hugely surprised that the president has decided to pardon his son. He was about to be sentenced on the 12th and the 16th of this month. One of the things that we're going to talk about, we have Gary Shapley and Joe Ziegler on this afternoon on The Story. And Shapley posted, after he saw what President Biden said, that it was clear that Hunter was singled out because he was my son. And they take that very personally, the whistleblowers, because they're saying, we investigated this case starting in 2018. For several years, we were basically cut off at the turn every time we got close to figuring out who was involved here and if President Biden was cognizant of some of these tax evasion and business dealings. And they got cut off at the knees by David Weiss, they claim. So we're going to have them on today and give their reaction because they feel personally maligned by what the president had to say about them. And they put themselves really out on a limb as whistleblowers. It's not easy what they did, and there have been ramifications in their lives because of it.
That's going to be a fascinating interview to watch, Martha. Meanwhile, this is more from Karine Jean-Pierre responding to questions from reporters, including, would this have happened if Harris had not lost? Here's the exchange.
You think this would have happened if Harris hadn't lost the election?
Look, I'm not gonna get into the election. It is a no. I can answer that. It is a no. And what I can say,
it's a no. This would not have happened if Harris hadn't lost the election. The pardon would not have happened if Harris hadn't lost the election.
But I can speak to where we are today, and so I can't speak to hypotheticals.
Interesting question put to her there.
Honestly, it's another moment where Joe Biden looks at this situation probably and says, look, if you left me in there, things would be different. I figured that Harris was going to win, and she didn't. And now I've had to backpedal on something that I didn't want to have to do. But now I have to free Hunter before he gets sentenced.
Apparently, the left is not happy about this either. So first, this is Colorado Governor Polis in a new tweet saying, while as a father, I certainly understand President Biden's natural desire to help his son by pardoning him, I'm disappointed that he put his family ahead of the country. That is a bad precedent that could be abused by later presidents and will sadly tarnish his reputation. And here, Martha, is some from the far left media slamming Biden's decision. Listen.
What I think is not disputable is that this is a historic act of political nepotism. Joe Biden, let's be clear here, he lied to us for a long time.
Nobody's above the law, we've been screaming. Well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law.
The notion that he hadn't committed crimes or that the process was tainted and political, I think it's deeply unfortunate for a president of the United States to say that. Mr. Biden, at least in this instance, sounds a good bit like Mr. Trump.
So while not shocking, the decision, this is the reaction from the left to it.
Hunter stood up in court and admitted to tax evasion. He admitted to these crimes, the gun charge. So he has already said that he did these things. I think, the more honorable thing to do would be to wait this process out and to say that, and for Hunter to say, let's see what comes my way when I get sentenced. The pardon option was always going to be on the table all the way up to January 20th. It's early, and it is not playing out very well.
Which leads us to our final bit of sound from Karine Jean-Pierre in that back and forth with reporters today. She was pressed on Biden saying that the DOJ is infected with politics. Listen.
He said saying his own Justice Department is broken, Karine.
He believes in the Justice Department. He believes that there was.
Saying all that, he believes in the Justice Department.
This is his words. He said this. This is the president saying this.
He just said it's infected with politics.
I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision making. I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfair prosecuted.
So how deep is the rot? How many selective prosecutions are there at the DOJ?
What I can speak to is this particular case.
To your earlier point, I mean, that's hard to listen to. I mean, we've covered a lot of White House press briefings with Karine Jean-Pierre. They fall into these hours. Often they have during this presidency. She was having a tough time answering these questions, and of course she was.
Honestly,
she was
I think she would be completely justified at that point to say, this is what the president told me, and now he's changed his mind.
Yeah.
You're going to have to ask him. Obviously, he's changed his mind. Everything he told me is not the case any longer, and you can look at his statement, but it is not what he told me.
Coming up at 3 o'clock, we've got the promo for you. Those IRS whistleblowers will be joining you, Martha. That is going to be fascinating to hear their reaction and response to this.
Yeah, they're courageous guys, and they put their neck out on the line, and now, once again, Hunter Biden is off the hook.
I'll be watching. Martha, thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.